And we are live on YouTube after a Hornets win over the Washington Wizards. It got very interesting at the end. I've got a special guest to help me break it all down next on Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Welcome in to Locked On Hornets, your daily podcast on the Charlotte Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Doug Branson from Every Hornets Box Score. No Walker Mail today. Instead, you can see I'm on the solo shot right now if you're watching live on YouTube because I'm trying to drum up the drama here for the special guest. It's the one, the only. It's Nata Edwards from Dispatches from Spectrum, his great Substack that you have to go subscribe to right now or else. Nata, the Hornets win against the Washington Wizards. Final score, 119-115. Welcome back to the show. You're always welcome, but welcome back. Hornets win. What do you think?
Is there such a thing as a bad loss, a bad win? Because I feel like this is like the quintessential bad win. Like this should have been 15, 20-point win. We talk about the net rating and how good they've been and how they blow everybody out. And yet here we are, and I have more to talk about in the bad than the good at this point. And I am so I wanted this to be, hey, we can go eat ourselves into a nice coma, again, get snowed in, enjoy the warmth of this Hornets blowout, and then go into Monday, like maybe if they play the game, maybe if they don't, if the ice clears up. But I was hoping to be in a better mood after this. And this one, I was just nervous, and I shouldn't have been nervous this late into the game.
All right, so they did fool around. They were up 10 going into the fourth quarter. They only win by 4, but I'm just going to read a chat very early here on this YouTube live, and it's from Avarisk on Sept. That's the best I can do on that username. Says can't complain about a W. And so look, you can feel weird, I think, about a loss when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, but when they put together their first winning streak since winning against Oklahoma City, they had gone win-loss, or double loss. I think it is difficult to complain too much about a victory. I mean, this team only did it 19 times last season, so I think you have to appreciate every time they get the victory. And I would just add, Nata, the Hornets this season have struggled in crunch time. And a lot of those crunch time losses came to teams that were better than them. But some of them, like games against Indiana, some of them came down to the Hornets being better than that team and letting it slip away. And I would say this time they didn't. And I think you can look at that and say that's growth.
It is growth, but I do feel like if this was against a team that actually was trying for 4 quarters and was actually trying to earn wins and actually make progress, they lose this game. I don't want to come in here and be negative because that's my thing. Like everyone knows me to be negative and be down on this team. I didn't want to come here and do that, but it's just like, this shouldn't be this difficult. And I understand it's a young team. I get all of that. I just wish we didn't put so much agita in it. It shouldn't have been this hard. It really shouldn't have. The turnovers were less than ideal. The defense was really less than ideal. There was a lot of this stuff that you didn't necessarily see, and they played down to the level of the competition, and it almost cost them a game.
They're 3-0 against the Wizards now after going completely beaten by the Wizards, beat down by the Wizards last season. So that's something to celebrate as well. I'm trying to be a counterweight here because, Nata, you're making good points. I'm not saying you're not making good points. The turnovers in this game were inexcusable. They were devastating at times. The defense was suspect, although I would say the Wizards came in firing on all cylinders, particularly from beyond the arc. Trey Johnson somebody that we really liked on this podcast going into the draft. No regrets. Kon Knueppel has been amazing, and I think will ultimately be a better player overall than Trey Johnson. I mean, he is already, but I think he will continue to be the better overall player. But Trey Johnson showing you what we were excited about, which is just that microwave level scoring. And I think part of the problem defensively for the Hornets, because they've been holding teams to under 100. They have been a good defensive team over the past couple of weeks. The problem was, I don't know if it was afternoon tip or not taking the Wizards seriously enough, but they did not set the tone physically. And they allowed the Wizards to run faster, play harder, hit first. They didn't set that tone with the physicality, and Washington sensed it and took advantage of that. And made some counter runs that I don't think the Hornets were particularly ready for.
No, they weren't. And there were I just go back to the end of the first quarter, where you cough the ball up so many times and you let them back in. That was the first of many times. This should have been a 10, should have been a 20-point lead. We've seen this team blow out actual good teams. This should not have been I don't want to keep harping on this should not have been this way. And I understand this is a fairly young team. And you have Brandon Miller, you have guys again, when you rely on the core of your team as rookies, I understand that there's going to be those issues of, okay, you're going to be riding the wave. I just feel like for another team that was starting the youngest starting five in history today, there should have been more of an establishment of, we are the vets, we are going to rook you, and we are going to just, enjoy, hopefully you get out to wherever you need to go out of the city as you escape the ice, and this should have been a 20-point blowout, point blank.
Evan Hale up in the chat right now. I think the young guys were really trying to win for the Wizards. They played swarming defense, which forced a lot of turnovers. Calvin Lewis says B-Mill is going back to the mid-range game. It's over. He is a superstar. Victim of fate telling me, cheer up, Doug. Cheer up, Doug. I feel great. The Hornets just got a dub 2 in a row. I think you mean cheer up, Nata. Talk to this guy. He's the one picking on all of the negative points in this game. I mean, come on.
Because normally that's your job. I'm here doing your job.
That's right. And speaking of that, later on in the show, I want to ask you about both the trade deadline and some of the noise, that I've contributed to on the LaMelo bench experiment. So we'll get to more of that later, but we've got much more to talk about from this game coming up on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
We'll get into some of the individual performances. What did we see from LaMelo, Brandon, Kon, Miles? We'll dive into it all, plus your Sicko celebrations from the Sicko Satchel. And as I said, I want to get Nata's thoughts on all things Charlotte Hornets. Stay with us here on a live edition. I'm going to read some more of your chats on YouTube too. Stay with us, Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by our good friends at Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd. Pretty good crowd, for a Snowmageddon that's happening in Charlotte right now. They were excited. They were up on their feet. That first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets. Fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing that Game Time app, it's straightforward, it's intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps, and seeing the view from your seat, this seriously is my favorite part, because I like to go all over the country and go to different arenas and baseball stadiums and all kinds of things. I just don't know what's going on, so I need the view from the seat. Choosing tickets, it's easy. You can be confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Back here on Locked On Hornets, thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. Got to tell you about the Everydayers Club. You already live your team Now it's time to take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayers Club today. Get Locked On Hornets with no interruption, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonhornets.supercast.com, or you can check the link in the show notes to learn more. So Hornets get the win, 4-point victory over the Washington Wizards. A couple of performances here to talk about. Brandon Miller, your game score leader with 21 points, 10 rebounds, the second player with a double-double. Moussa also 11 points, 14 rebounds. I'm sorry, third player, because LaMelo had a double-double, 20 points, 11 assists. But Brandon Miller, your game score leader, what did you think of his performance in this one?
Dare I say, to quote Emperor Palpatine, Brandon Miller is a fully functional and operational battleship right now. That man is working on every single level. His defense leaves a little bit to be desired, but he is the Hornets' offensive weather vane. And where he goes, and whenever he has these big nights where he can just be that constant offensive metronome, he ends up being, again, you end up seeing these nights where they just don't lose. So Brandon Miller had a great game. I'm very, very thankful for him. And at this point, like, if we're talking about the extensions and everything, and when we start having those conversations about trades, remember, you got to factor in that near max that you're going to end up having to give him at this summer at this point.
Boring Sports Show on the chat says, man, if it weren't for those early injuries to B-Mill and Melo, we'd be firmly in the play-in. Shaking my head. Still a chance, though. Absolutely still a chance, particularly when you take into account that Giannis Antetokounmpo, whether he stays with Milwaukee or not, is going to be missing potentially 4 to 6 weeks. It's going to be some amount of time with, I believe it's another calf strain. So injuries, Atlanta looks shaky right now. A lot of Eastern Conference teams look shaky. At the same time, the Hornets are putting together victories. And that's, again, why I think you look at this situation and go, okay, not the ideal way to win, but a weird thing because the game gets pushed back to the 12 p.m. tip. It was supposed to be a 6 p.m. tip. And it gets pushed back. So weird circumstances. And I think Evan's right. Like Washington, one of the youngest, if no, the youngest starting lineup in the league. And they came in with something to prove after losing twice to the Charlotte Hornets. But the Hornets you're right, the Hornets have to get those turnovers under control. So many of them were not trying to make a play necessarily for others. You know, you can live with that sometimes. It's drive and kick and someone jumps the passing lane, disrupt. You know, if they're trying to make a play, a smart play, you can live with those. A lot of these were, I'm going to drive it on my own. Defense collapses and I don't really know what to do with it. Brandon Miller was a part of Colin Sexton, Sion James a few times. Brandon Miller was your game leader for turnovers. And his defense, look, he is a great disruptor on the defensive end. With those long arms and his instincts, he can jump passing lanes. He can get the break started. But yes, just attentiveness, getting back cut, losing a guy, not being able to block out. There are some things that he has to, I think, if he wants to get to that Paul Georgian level, if he wants to get to that all-star level, he's going to have to balance the offensive end of the floor and the defensive end of the floor, although he did contribute in a number of ways. And I thought, you know, he and LaMelo, other than the sort of Moussa cleanup stuff, he and Melo were the most important parts of this victory tonight.
I think one thing before we keep the show moving, that is the most important, ends up being the ability of his rebounds. How many of those rebounds were contested rebounds that he grabbed and started one-man breaks on? So when you start looking at stuff like that, like, that's the stuff that we don't necessarily take notice of. It shows up in the stat sheet. It's not a Cody Zeller thing, Doug, so I don't necessarily want to annoy you with that. But it's one of those things where, like, you see how he changes rebounds, how he changes shots. The rebounding, I think, was a really big portion of what he did today and the impact. And it's, like, dare I say, he's the best two-way wing they have. Like, I don't, like, obviously the scoring is the one thing and the defensive lapses are what they are, but he's their best two-way wing, and when he shows that ability, this team can go far.
LaMelo Ball with 11 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists in the second half, and I think hit all 5. He was 0 from inside the arc in the first half. He goes 5 of 6. Finally started to hit them inside the arc. It was a weird, like, opposite thing where in the first half, all he was hitting was 3s and no 2s. And then in the second half, all he could hit were 2s. and no threes, but more importantly, double-digit assists. He was using the pass to really command this game. I want to go back to one thing that on Brandon Miller. He had a huge shot with about 3 to go as Washington was making their full-on assault in the fourth quarter. He hit a huge bucket as the clock was winding down. The Hornets, it was a mixture of what Evan was saying in the chat, where the defense for the Wizards was swarming, but the Hornets were taking way too long to get into their offense. They were allowing Washington to get into their defense and get set. And on the other side, they were also allowing Washington to run offensively. But Brandon Miller hitting that shot so huge, that's what they need out of Brandon Miller as they look to a potential play-in game or a playoff series in the future. Brandon Miller is going to have to be that guy who can hit the toughest of tough shots when the defense is fully locked in on the other side. He's got to be that guy because Kon Knueppel is crafty, but Brandon Miller is tall and lengthy and can get shots over any defense, and he absolutely has to hit them, and he hit a big one in this one. But you know what I like about Kon, though? Kon, I always used to talk about with Al Jefferson, the release valve offense. You give it to Al, and he can go get you a bucket when the play breaks down. Kon is turning into that a little bit with his mid-range game. Like when the play breaks down, second option goes away, you find him in the middle of the floor, he can pull up and hit that little jump shot, and that's release valve offense. That's like, man, we are in a scoring rut. We got to do something. Kon can do that. He is a tough game. This one, not his rookie of the year level best, but he's just a special player.
He's what I would call the run game. Like everyone loves the big. He's like, think of LaMelo and Brandon as the passing game. But that solid run game, that 3 yards of a cloud of dust, that little play that you need to keep it going forward, that's what Kon Knueppel is. He will, and it's not just that mid range. It's that get to the paint, and then I'm going to dish it off to either Moussa or Kalkbrenner or something like that. And when he does it, it's always that it's that nice little it's like grits. It's that nice little, like those grits that stick to your ribs. It's the stuff that sustains you. It's what you need to keep you going forward. And that's what Kon Knueppel is. He's grits right now.
If he's grits, then who's the shrimp?
LaMelo.
Yeah.
Brandon's the roux. Brandon's the roux. Brandon's the roux in that.
Oh, man. The Hornets, too many offensive rebounds allowed to Washington in this one, too many second chance points. And really, it wasn't even the amount of offensive rebounds. It's just that so many of those offensive rebounds got kicked back out, and the Wizards were able to knock down three-pointers. And then points off of turnovers, 21-17. The turnovers, 21. Actually, that's not even a terrible number when you consider the fact that the Hornets turned it over 21 times. But the foul difference, I think, was huge in this one. 22 fouls for Washington, only 10 for Charlotte, and it resulted in the Hornets going 23 of 30 from the line, 76%, only 9 free throw attempts. And you can look at that and say, wow, bad whistle for Washington. But if you watch the game, they were just jacking them up, man. I mean, that's a young team that was saying, hey, we're going to blitz these guys, go fast, throw up 1,000 shots and see what happens. And it almost worked.
No, that was a team that clearly had a plane to catch. They were like, we have a plane to catch. We are not getting stuck in Charlotte. Let's go. If we win this, great. If we don't win this, great. We're not supposed to win this, but we're shooting this like we have a plane to catch.
We had this analogy in our, we were chatting during the game, and I think it's important to note this. The Washington Wizards came into this game like they were the Hornets' little cousin, hooping it up, and the Hornets came in thinking, all right, I've got, it's my little cousin, it's fine. And then all of a sudden, little cousin starts hooping, and you're like, oh my God. And doing stuff, I compare it to like when you play somebody in 2K that hasn't played a lot before, and they start doing things that are or any game, it could be 2K. I'm getting into chess.
A really good example,
2K is great. I'm getting into chess right now. I'm learning how to play. And if you start to study the game and then you play somebody who's a novice, they just start doing stuff that's so wildly outside of what you anticipate that it messes your game up until you can settle down. And I thought the Hornets did that in the middle of the game, and then they just sort of kind of sat back a little bit and thought, all right, if we just kind of do a couple of these things, we're going to get this win pretty easily. And instead, Washington, that little cousin, just kept coming and coming, and the Hornets weren't exactly ready for that until they made some big shots there at the end of the game.
The Washington Wizards didn't know they were supposed to quit when they were down as much as they were down. And to their credit, they didn't quit. And mind you, Brian Keefe had one timeout with like 11 minutes to go in the game, like only one timeout left. And he was, because it looked like he was trying to give everybody a chance to leave. And mind you, I thought that was like the wave the white flag. We're going to throw all the guys in. Sharif Cooper is going to have the quarter of his life a la Trey Mann. And it wouldn't have mattered because Hornets win by 20. But that being said, I do appreciate the growth that we saw. Like, again, we mentioned LaMelo. I think the biggest shot that he hit was at about a minute 13 left, where he takes the ball out, drains a whole bunch of the clock, gets to the bucket with one of his floaters, leads 4. And I felt like that was probably the biggest shot of the game right there, because if he misses, most likely they lose that game.
Let's do a few more chats, and then I want to ask you about some of the things that are going around the Hornets sphere in general in the next segment. But Ollie says B-Mill has been so impressive recently. Ollie's right. I mean, Brandon Miller is transforming in front of our very eyes into the all-star level player that we assumed he was going to be when he was selected, or a lot of people assumed he was going to be when he was selected second overall and came in and played so well as a rookie. So he's transforming into that star level player, not letting the injury to the shoulder hold him back, I think. Reduced Lunch says Moussa is the second most important player on the team. He is the engine, and Melo is the conductor. Evan pointing out that the Hornets are now 1 win away from their win total from last season.
Also, speaking of Melo, right quick, you know this is the most games he's played consecutively healthy in his career, right?
A lot of people are mentioning that as a counterpoint to any consternation about him coming off the bench. People are looking at that. And so, you know what I said to that, Nata?
What did you say?
I said, if people say that to me, particularly after this season's over, if they hit me with that stat, I'm gonna be like, this ain't The Wire. We're not juicing the stats, man. That's, you know, I want consecutive real games where he's playing real NBA minutes for a guy who's making $50 million. Okay, I'm sorry. I appreciate I appreciate the experimentation. I appreciate. Look, all right, we got to save it. We got to save it for the next segment. We got to save it because I want to get into that and much more. Thanks for the chats. Keep it coming. We got one more segment to go coming up on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
We also have to do Sicko celebrations. I feel like on the last couple of shows that we've hit up the Sicko Satchel, the Sicko Brigade, that we've done Sicko Lamentations. We always end up doing that in a loss. So I wanna find out what the Sickos are celebrating. We'll do that. Plus, I'll ask Nata not only about the LaMelo situation, but also about the trade deadline. It is fast approaching. What should the Hornets do? What could they do? We'll find out from him coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays always feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night. Before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. It's Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time. They've become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during NBA Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, surprises. It's easy to check the weekly specials before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing's perfect. It's right before the games. It's right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So, before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. back here on Locked On Hornets, a live edition on YouTube. I'm coming from my studios here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're getting snowed in. It's going along a line. It hit Tennessee first, and it's moving right along to Charlotte. That's why they had to move the game back. So I'm in the process of getting snowed in. Nata, where are you coming to us from?
I am in my parents' unfinished basement right now.
What?
Yes.
Blog Boys activate. You are in your mother's basement. That's incredible.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we decided to hang out here. Most likely, again, it was free childcare. So I couldn't necessarily say.
Oh, clutch. I have a baby.
Yes, exactly. It's one of those free childcare. And then also at the same point, like, it was a smarter idea and made a whole lot of other people feel comfortable to do this. So you know what? Take one from the team, you hang out, and occasionally you podcast from your parents' unfinished basement.
That's right. Stay safe. Stay off the roads. If you're getting snowed in, if there's ice situation, stay home. All right, let's talk more about this game a little bit. If we've got some, we got Sicko celebration, so I want to do that. Let's just do that first. Let's hit those, and then we'll hit some of these other bigger topics. Let's go to first up in the Sicko satchel. By the way, join subtext.com/locked on Locked On Hornets. If you want to sign up for the free trial and hit us with your next Sicko celebrations or Sicko lamentations. And this is from Brooks of the KJ Simpson Battalion. When we need stops, why don't we chant B-fence instead of defense?
Save that idea, son. Save that idea. Save that idea. Don't let the Hornets hear that, because they may just do that and steal your idea.
Yeah, well, they might steal B3, the B3 too, not the big three, but the B3. LaMelo, Brandon, and Kon. If the B3, if they keep the B3 together through the trade deadline, hold that thought. When? Okay. Let's see. I want to know if Nata wants us to push for the playoffs or stay the course and angle for a better pick. That coming from Sean of the 5th Book Night Division. What do you think? Push for the playoffs or angle for the better pick?
Let's just see where this goes. Let's see where this takes us. I'm okay with letting this be what it is. They've always said, we need to figure what this is. And I want them to have as much data as they have going into an offseason where they have, 3 draft picks, 2 of them first rounders, most likely 2 in the first 22 of a really deep draft. I want them to have as much information so that no matter what happens, there are no excuses. This is a playoff-bound team in 2026, 2027. That's the way I want them to go about this.
Okay, we've got a first-time Sicko here in the Sicko Brigade. This is from Doc. This is great. This is a great Sicko name of the Tyrus Thomas Division.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Hopefully Paul Silas did not shove this dude in the locker as well.
No, the story seems to change. The story said, did he get shoved into a locker? Were their hands on throats? I'm
assuming
story.
Again, we have to remember that this Paul Silas was a very big man and a very tough guy in a tough guy era. I am assuming he did the most in that instance. The most.
Okay, this is from Doc. He wants to know, how do you feel about the prevent style of play in the fourth quarter? Kind of felt like the Hornets should have stayed aggressive rather than slowing the game down. Did you feel the same way, Nata?
Honestly, I'm kind of okay with the way they did it. I just don't I don't mind the style of offense. I hated the execution. That's the thing. That style of offense works a lot. Drain the air out of the ball. Usually with younger teams, it ends up demoralizing them, and it ends up working more often than it doesn't. I just didn't like the execution of the offense going down the stretch. A little too laissez-faire, thinking that they had this one wrapped in the bag already.
I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny whether Doc is a Panthers fan, but that might be some Panthers trauma from the playoffs. Just
he screamed out Evero while this lead was blowing. I understand. I would have been upset too.
Okay, Roger of the 23rd Trey Man Division. Doug, another Sicko celebration. I mentioned in the Every Hornets box score chat that the swing, shoot offense was alive in the Hive today. The guys kept the ball moving and got their hands in the passing lanes on defense. The clutch time play looked more sophisticated. The guys were on the same page to get the win in the end. Love to see this. Nata, in our chat, you mentioned that you love the ball movement as well.
I love the ball movement. I loved it was very, very, like I said, sophisticated is a good word for it. It was very much like, we know we're better than you, and we're going to show you we're better than you, and we are going to demoralize you with this ball movement. And for 3 quarters, it looked like that was going to be the case. It was some of the best ball movement we've seen all season. I appreciate it. I think I want to see more of it, and hopefully we see more of it on Monday against Philly, because I think Philly can be ripe for the taking in terms of that as well.
Okay, I'm going to rapid fire through some of these because we've got a ton. People were in the chat today. Yeah. Winning streak begins. Buzz, buzz. Hornets finally win a crunch time game. Too bad it was after we gave up a huge lead. Cockprinter's long. Yeah, that's true. I mean, sometimes you have to manufacture the situation to make sure that you got the stuff to do it. And
we
the Hornets
talked about juking stats again. You might as well juke one more. What's one more, right?
Cockprinter's long absence exposed no rim protection as a roster flaw.
I mean, yes and no, but I also think Kalkbrenner, I think the fan base is a little too hard on Ryan Kalkbrenner to begin with. I think we have to remember he's a rookie, and granted, he's a 23-year-old rookie, but he's a 23-year-old rookie with no strength training program. I think that matters, especially when it comes to bigs. He'll be fine. Just, you got to be patient with this. Enjoy the ride. I'm officially at enjoy the ride status with the Charlotte Hornets at this point.
Okay, let's shift gears because Nata, we have you on here and you are on supreme dad duty right now. So I don't know when the next time we're going to be able to pull you away from family time.
It might be easier than you think. You just gotta.
Okay, all right. See, there you go. I have a baby. Kind of works both ways. Sometimes it gets you out of things, and sometimes it gets you into things.
Yes.
So let me pick your brain just in case we don't get you on here for a little bit. Big talk right now. LaMelo, the bench experiment, first night of back-to-backs is seemingly when they want to go to it. But in 3 games that they've tried it, they have been getting blitzed in the first quarter. I tweeted out the stats. It's nearly a margin of 8 point. It's almost 9 points, like 8.667 in those first early minutes when he's not in the game. It seemed like in the last time they did it, they put him back in after only 4 minutes. Seemed like an admission that it's not working. But then you'll get a lot of counter arguments saying, look, he's played a lot of games. He's played a lot of consecutive games. So, what are your thoughts just overall on the experiment? Is it a failed experiment? Do they have to adjust something or just keep going?
They have to figure it out. I am just at if they're going to do this, Zion James can't start the games anymore. I like what he does. I think he's a very important part of what this team does. He does very important things. He just can't be the starter. We keep seeing this. And the only problem is, Colin Sexton can't be the starter either if we're doing this. We keep seeing this Colin Sexton go down the lane, challenge 4 guys, live ball turnover, team goes the other way, fast break points, and we see it too often. There'll be those shining games. Orlando was one of them where he does this great stuff, but he does a lot of it off the bench. This is where, unfortunately, I wish Trey Mann was better because he would be the obvious answer. But unfortunately, because Trey Mann has been as bad as he is, it has to be Zion James. They got to figure it out. But I'm at the point where it can't be Zion James anymore. I'm willing to see Josh Green start, and you just have Point Con start the game.
Wow. Stowe Time saying facts. Sion is important, but can't start NBA games yet. Well, it seems too that I think the benefit, at least to having Colin in there, is that there is a ball handler that I think everybody else trusts to start the offense.
Fair.
Because what I keep seeing in these games is ball comes down the floor, it goes to one guy, Miles, Kon, whoever, Brandon, and it's all right, that person is solely responsible for getting a bucket, and it doesn't work out, and then they're forced to run back on defense. And so, I think at least if they had a ball handler that everybody had seen some time enough playing the point guard position with the trust, it might help a little bit. But I agree, it's very ironic that the Hornets are in this situation when they brought 17 point guards into camp. And now, it's it's the old quarterback adage. If you got 4, you don't have 1.
You don't have any. That's the thing.
Right.
It's I really wish Trey Mann was better. And it's almost like I'm almost at the point of, hey, how is Spencer Dinwiddie doing in Germany? Because we might have a free roster spot if we want to get rid of Mason Plumlee. Like that's like I'm almost there to where, hey, maybe we call Spencer Dinwiddie, see what he's doing in Germany, see if he misses Charlotte that much in his 3 weeks here, see if he wants to come back. Like that would be I'm almost there. I'm not there completely, but I'm almost there.
All right. Yesterday's mishaps 2979 says, let's go. Love Locked On Hornets. We love you. Thank you for joining us here on this.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, special live edition of YouTube. Not a final thing. Trade deadline coming up. Well, let's do a couple of rapid fire questions here.
Okay.
Should the Hornets be buyers, sellers, or do nothing?
I think they should listen. I think you can be listeners. If someone's willing to give you a first round pick, decently protected for Colin Sexton, you absolutely do this, especially in the 2026 draft. You absolutely do it. If you're telling me that Miles Bridges can be you're telling me Miles Bridges can be traded for 2 first rounds. I'll drive Miles to the airport myself for that deal. There's a bunch of things. Like, I'm not saying you buy or you sell, you just listen. You're at the point where you're still trying to figure out what you have. I still don't think they have enough data to what they actually have and what they build around. The 2026 offseason is going to be so crucial because, again, I'm going to highlight this. There are 2 picks that are most likely in the top 22 of this draft that you're going to add to this roster. This is a very deep roster. Depending on where you draft, this could change you to being the next OKC if you do this right. So I'm saying you don't do anything to jeopardize the offseason. But at the same point, if there's someone's going to come and ask for more give you more assets for some of these guys, you'd be dumb not to listen at this point.
They need to be FRP hunters, first round pick hunters. Like if they are available, and if you're thinking we saw some reports that the Hornets might be asking for multiple first round picks for Miles Bridges,
as they should.
And yeah, well, but I think people who have watched Miles closely would say like can definitely, he's a 20-point per game scorer. He's capable of that. But if you watch him closely, you also, the downsides, the limits, the cap on his skills. And you may be asking yourself, how could any team possibly, talk themselves into that? And the answer is the same answer I would give for Colin Sexton and a lot of these players that the Hornets have under contract right now, is that they become the perfect vehicles. If you're a team interested in making a run at Giannis Antetokounmpo or any big free agent in the next, offseason or two, these contracts that the Hornets have are perfectly made for that situation.
Yep. The Josh Greens, the Grant Williams of the world. Yep.
All of them. Exactly. And so, to me, the most likely scenario is that the Hornets are sellers, but sellers on not everything. It's not a fire sale situation. It might not even be with the way, I think Sion is developing and with Khan's ascension, it might not even be a sales situation where you're going to get considerably worse as a team, but I think you're going to bring back 1 or more first round picks. Honestly, I think I'd be a little disappointed if they came away from the trade deadline and didn't have a single asset to show for us and held completely pat.
I'm not going to say I would be disappointed because I think there's a whole lot of talk, and I think the Aprons have a lot of these owners scared, and which you have a lot of GMs and team presidents that have the ownership mandate of, you need to get salaries down. We need to get out of these bans. So I do think that there's going to be a little less action, but I would not be I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't get a first round pick out of this, but I wouldn't be the one guy I think I would be disappointed to see after the deadline might be Colin Sexton. I'm not going to be surprised if Miles Bridges is still here. I would not be surprised if Miles Bridges is here next February. That's where we're at with this. I do think that they value him. And I also shout out to Rod Morrow, the black guy who tips, who always points this out. You can do a lot worse than Miles Bridges as a 4th option. And if you're going to have him as your 4th option and you're going to pay him $20 million, it's not the worst cap management in the world, especially if he's going to re-up for something there or maybe a little bit less.
him being the fourth option is rarely the problem. It's him deciding he's the first option in the fourth quarter that becomes.
Well, to be fair, he only thinks that when either LaMelo's out or Brandon's out. When one of those two guys is in, he's perfectly fine playing the background role. He gets his Carlton Banks on when he sees, it's me and Kon. I'm the captain now. Look at me, Kon. I'm the captain. That's what he does. That's where we are with him. That again, when it's like Brandon's out there, he's willing to defer. Again, LaMelo's out there, he's good to defer. Anyone else? Not a chance. Not even Colin. Like, that's the thing about those lineups with him and Bridges and Colin Sexton that drive you nuts, because they're basically wrestling over the ball on who gets to take the shot, who gets to take the worst shot.
Okay, we are out of time. Thanks so much to Nata Edwards for joining me here on this live edition of Locked On Hornets, celebrating a Hornets victory, one game away from the win total of last season, another winning streak for the Charlotte Hornets. Hopefully they can keep it going here as they look down the rest of their schedule. The Sixers coming up on Monday, then Memphis on Wednesday, and then Dallas on Thursday. So
and then
some winnable
can
games
we get to
there.
5? Can we get to 5 or 6?
I think it's very possible. You go from Trey Johnson, and now you're going to match up with VJ Edgecombe. That'll be exciting. All right.
Go to draft test.
Yeah. So make sure you're going to Dispatches from Spectrum. That is Nata Edwards' great Substack. Subscribe there and read what he has to say about this game. So I've taken you away from your responsibilities. Now you have to go run from your mother's basement and type in your blog.
I got a blog from the basement, and then at some point I have to go take care of my kid. At some point, I don't know when, but I will be required to. It's just in due time.
Well, and you can feel more comfortable taking care of your kid because the Hornets, the kids, they appear to be all right. They looked a little shaky there, but they appear to be all right. Thank you so much for joining us here and for making Locked On Hornets your first listen every day. Go to lockedonhornets.supercast.com. Sign up for the ad-free experience if that's what you're into. Go to everyhornetsboxscore.com. Evan Hale of Hailstorm Sports is going to have the game notes for this one. He just told me in the chat, it's up. So go to everyhornetsboxscore.com right now to check out the game notes. So much content. You know why? Because the Hornets are winning basketball. Until next time, go Hornets, go America. Let's swarm Charlotte. Peace.